All right, guys. Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well today. This is the NBA Tournament Strategy Show, where we do a look back at yesterday. We also talk about this slate and make sure we're game planning correctly. We also work on the implementation on the pre-lock show. That's at 5:30 p.m. That's for VIP members only. Feel free to use the promo code BOB for a 10% discount. Now, guys, let's get real honest and real here talking about last night. It was not very kind. Aaron, good to see you, man. Aaron, Mr. White Chocolate himself, that's his Discord name for those that don't know, got first place in his tournament without Luka, which is wild, And yeah, I appreciate the support, man. Collins worked out, guys. Definitely some nice plays yesterday. Thomas Dye, good to see you, man. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Last night was brutal for the vast majority of us. Let's start off with like the core plays. We had like Okongwu get into foul trouble. Poku wasn't a core play, I don't believe, but we had a lot of exposure to him as well. And then he got hurt like 5 minutes into the game, and I was like, what? And then after that, you're already starting to feel a little wounded, like it's going to take a miracle. We had Joel Embiid as a leverage play. That was nice. We had John Collins as a leverage play. So I was actually still feeling semi-optimistic at this point. We also had Jason Tatum as a leverage play. But none of that mattered when Luka Doncic decided to go buck wild, man. It was weird because it was nice, like just seeing him play so well, but I didn't have any exposure. So from a DFS standpoint, that really freaking sucked. It's one of those slates where being contrarian was the way to go. Luka and the Knicks had the lowest total on the slate. If that's the way you want to go 9 times out of 10, that's totally fine. But honestly, I'm fine missing on slates like that. Like, I'm not going to try and chase that. Sometimes you lose. And if you can't handle losing, probably shouldn't be playing DFS. But guys, let's get back on track. Last night was not fun, but I still love seeing guys like Aaron win. We had like a few other guys have like multiple top 50 lines. Wasn't one of the best nights, but still there were ways of winning, which is always nice to see. Like, you don't have to always copy what someone else is doing. You can follow their lead a little bit and then make your own pivots. I love doing that. That's what I did as a member. I listened to the coaches, but if I didn't agree with something or if I wanted to take my own shot, I did it. So definitely recommend doing that. And Dave, man, Okongwu freaking sucked. Every time he fouled, blood pressure started going up a little bit more. Louise, good to see you, man. RJ killed all of my lines as he was a core for me when Brunson got ruled out. Okay, I get that. I understand that. I didn't go the RJ route, but I'm so sorry he did not get there for you. I had a little bit more quickly in Grimes, which worked out well. I wish I would have boosted Randall. We actually talked about Randall a little bit on the pre-lock show, how even though the Mavs play at a slower pace, I'm more willing to play front court guys against the slower pace. Again, not a guy that I put a minimum on, so it doesn't really matter, but interesting. Yeah, Dwayne Washington crushed. I know some people didn't get a ton of exposure to Dwayne Washington, but I had some exposure to him just naturally with the domination station. I think there was some issues there for some people, but I don't know. Nice, Michael. Nice. Aaron said exactly. Porter Jr. Yes, Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. was a B-Dubs, DFS Army member who's super sharp. We talked about it on the show yesterday. He called MPJ, Michael Porter Jr. being a great leverage play, and I utilized that leverage play in my late swap when we started getting more news. So definitely a really great call. Nice play for you as well, Aaron. I don't know if you saw that on the show or if you just knew that yourself. So great call for you too if you did. And then, yeah, Michael Robinson was also a really good way of getting different too. So nice. Nice. Dropping off Okongwu when we upped Collins makes a ton of sense. Nice. Yeah, Luka destroyed the slate. So no matter, yeah, exactly. So like really no matter what, like the Embiid and Tatum call would have been great on your average slate, but yesterday just really didn't matter. So moving on, guys, you just gotta shake it off. If you did well, celebrate, be happy. That's awesome. But if you didn't, like a lot of us didn't do well yesterday, I didn't do well yesterday. You just gotta move on, put the blinders on, and keep focusing. On getting another takedown. If you start playing more scared now, if you start getting nervous, then you're going to lose again. So blinders. Starting off, guys, with this first game on the slate, we have the Suns against the Washington Wizards. From a injury standpoint, Devin Booker's already been ruled out, so that's nice. Shamet is TBD. That's big news. We saw yesterday when Shamet was out, more of the Suns guys were able to have ceiling performances. Dwayne Washington was the main one, but really just in general, their team performed well. Chris Paul was awful. That one didn't work out well for us. Cam Payne is TBD. Cam Johnson's out. Shamet, I think the vast majority of us aren't really planning on him playing today. This game is early enough where we will have this news by the time we get locked. So I don't think it makes a ton of sense to try to theory craft too much. But if Shamit's out, then we're definitely going to want more exposure to this team. Chris Paul hurt us yesterday. I'm totally fine going back here. The Wizards are relatively healthy. Bradley Beal is TBD with his hamstring injury. So if Beal is out, that could be huge for us. Porzingis sees a nice boost. Hachimura sees a nice boost. Kyle Kuzma sees a nice boost. We've seen it's going to be hard for me to want to take shots on guys like Will Barton and like Corey Kispert. Like those are going to be tougher. And even like Denny Avdija, like those are guys who have performed well in the past with Beal out. But really with Roy Hachimura coming back, I still don't have a great vibe on kind of their split. Like I'd rather take the shot on Rory. Deidre said, "Did y'all already talk about the Cowboys? What about the Cowboys, Deidre? What am I missing about the Cowboys?" Aaron B said, "The show, man, VIP coaching is how I'm getting so much better at DFS." That's awesome to hear, man. I appreciate that. And I like guys like you, Don Juan, B-Dubs, a lot of guys who like you watch the shows, you take the advice, but you don't follow it. Like you don't follow it to like a T. You're like, oh, I like that call, I'll use it. I don't like that one, I won't. Like that's what I did as a member, and I really wish more people would do that because it's just such a more fun way of playing. You have more ownership, but also you're able to kind of ride the waves too. Like when you're excited about a play and you like a play that I'm on too. It's just nice. It's more fun to play that way. I don't like to be a puppet, and so I recommend other people don't be a puppet. But like learn the processes, try to learn the trends over time. A lot of it will just start to feel more natural to you. So again, guys, losing 2 days in a row, it happens. It's fine. Don't overreact. Eventually it'll come back around. Thomas said, "I think if we boosted Washington, we will get Luka naturally." Boosted Washington yesterday? Maybe. I don't know. So, I mean, I've back tested a little bit, and there wasn't really any way to get Luka naturally. Like, really, no matter who you took out, you really had to force Luka in there, which is fine. Like on a 10-game slate, that's fine. Like, I don't really need the DS to force in all of the studs because there were a lot yesterday. You really just had to be on Luka. Deidre said, "No, my team is Kansas City." Nice. You guys are looking good this year. You guys are looking good. Chris said, "Would you recommend back testing for NBA as well?" Yes. I back test like crazy. I look forward to back testing. It's fun for me. Even especially after a bad slate. That's when people don't back test the most. Back testing really just helps you figure out, hey, what could I have done to win? Was this a winnable slate for me? Was I on the right guys, and what did I miss? So those are the things that I look out for when I back test. Did I make too many changes? Things of that sort. Like I just kind of question, edit. Like there's so much you can do in back testing. I really recommend people just go in there and play around with it. It helps your DFS game so much. And I know some people said like they felt like I just clicked the optimizer button sometimes on the pre-lock show. And I'm like, guys, I make so many changes with like our min and max exposure. It might look relatively simple, but like I spent so much time back testing that I kind of know what numbers to put on guys at this point to get the exposure to them that I want naturally, semi-naturally. All right. So moving on, I think again, like the Suns are going to be interesting. If Shamet is out right now, the main guys who are on my radar are Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. Outside of that, not too many guys I'm super excited about. On the other side of this, with the Wizards, If Bradley Beal is out, then we can definitely start to target more of these Wizards players, primarily still the main functioning starters because they see the largest usage boost. But again, okay with taking a shot on Roy. Next up, we have the Orlando Magic against the Detroit Pistons. Uh, the Magic are slowly but surely getting healthier. We've been talking about this for a while. Jalen Suggs is out. Okiki is out. Jonathan Isaac is out. The Pistons, they have the worst defensive rating in the league over the last few games. So definitely a team that we can look to attack here. But granted, these are two bad teams facing each other. So we know how that can go. For the Detroit Pistons, they have Marvin Bagley out. Isaiah Livers is out. Cade Cunningham has been out for a while. So this is an interesting game. I like that this is a relatively soft matchup for both sides. The tougher part here is going to be the trust factor. I always like and am interested in Killian Hayes. It looks like we're going to have some decent ownership on Killian Hayes and Jalen Duren. So ideally, I'll have natural ownership to them. And I won't have to make them a leverage play or anything like that. But they're in a nice spot. I understand. I like their upside here. The sim model likes Hayes. So I'm totally fine taking some shots here and at least matching the field. But again, like the Pistons aren't a team that I have a ton of trust in, so it's not really a spot that I would like to make a leverage or a core play at this point. Isaiah Stewart is in a really good spot today. He'll see a boost with Marvin Bagley out, so that's why he's popping as hard as he is in comparison to some of the other guys here. Jalen Duren also sees a little bit of a boost as well. So Duren and Isaiah Stewart, I like. Their minutes floor is more solid. That's usually what concerns us. They both have high ceilings, but with Bagley out, that should provide a safer minutes floor for them. And you see that we're kind of projecting like 32 minutes for them at this point, which is really solid for them because they're decent point per minutes guys. So I like the spot, honestly. Outside of that, on the other side of it, I think guys like Paolo, Paolo's really like the guy I'll be the most interested in from like a GPP standpoint because we know the upside he brings in bad matchups. That's what I like to attack with Paolo. Alternatively, Fultz and Cole Anthony are still relatively cheap for their role on this team. Cole Anthony crushed a lot of people's dreams yesterday. I think I saw Cole Anthony as a core play for some people. For me, I matched the field on him, so he was just one more kind of like mine I hit a little bit of, but didn't really ruin me too much. But I'm okay with both of these guys. I think we'll have better value on this slate, though. So I don't think we have to have Fultz and Cole Anthony, but I'm okay having that kind of exposure to them on this slate. All right, guys. Next up, we have the Lakers against the Miami Heat. Let's see. From a injury standpoint, the Miami Heat have a long list, like they always do. They have Jimmy Butler is questionable. Bam Adebayo is questionable. Caleb Martin is probable. Gabe Vincent is questionable. Dwayne Dedmon is out. Haslam is questionable. Yurtseven is out. Guys, this list is. They need to get fined. The Miami Heat, like they can't keep getting away with this. It's wild. Of course, like I think everyone knows, like if Jimmy Butler's out, then Lowry and Hero are more interesting. If Bam is out, the center position is kind of a crazy situation for the Miami Heat. So I guess I don't think they're facing the Lakers. I think it would make sense to take shots on whoever starts. That's what I would do. Just take a shot on whoever starts. But there's a lot of potential sneaky spots as well. Like Oladipo could be interesting. Max Strus could be interesting. But it's really just going to depend on the injury news. So definitely keep an eye on that. On the other side of this game, LeBron James, the one and only, is TBD. So it's very possible he might not play today. The guys who see the biggest and largest increase in usage when LeBron James is out is Dennis Schroeder and Russell Westbrook. So definitely guys that I would want to have on my radar, along with I would be okay with having exposure to guys like Lonnie Walker as well. We've seen him have some upside as well. The matchup against the Heat, though, isn't my favorite and isn't one I want to attack. But again, if LeBron James is out, I feel like it's going to be really hard to not play Russell Westbrook at least. All Right. Moving on, we have Louise said Giannis is almost 30% owned on this slate. Where's the value? Louise, we have guys like LeBron James, TBD. There's a lot of big names that will potentially be out. There should be a good amount of value on this slate. That's why you're going to see guys like Giannis popping. There's going to be a lot. For instance, in this game, we have Trae Young questionable for the Hawks. We have Clint Capella TBD. We have DeAndre Hunter TBD. Imagine if the Hawks are without Trae Young, Clint Capella, and DeAndre Hunter. That already opens up a ton of value. DeJounte Murray will become a more interesting play. Let's just look a little bit deeper. Of course, if Clint Capella's out, we would have to go back to Okongwu after he hurt us a little bit. No, we wouldn't. He's priced up well, so that's not a have to go to spot, but he'll be more viable. John Collins would be more interesting. DeAndre Hunter, if he's out, guys, this is a team that once again we might have to go back to. So that would open up some value. On the net side of things, we can attack this Hawks team through their front court. Is one of my favorite ways of attacking this team. The hard part is that includes playing guys like Ben Simmons and Nick Claxton. Ben Simmons looks like he's going to be relatively popular on this slate. It makes sense. I like the matchup. I don't know if I fully trust it, though. I feel a little iffy on it. We'll see where we land on the pre-lock show, but I understand it, so I don't hate it. For me, the interesting piece for the Nets is that Joe Harris is out. Seth Curry appears to be healthy and available. We saw TJ Warren have a really nice game last time out, but that was with Joe Harris and Seth Curry out. If Seth Curry's playing, I think we can safely avoid that situation. And then, of course, you can always take your shots on guys like KD and Kyrie Irving. I have absolutely nothing against that. At their ownership, I'll probably just let the DS decide how much I have of them. But for me, the main guys I would want to that I'm considering as like potential leverage plays are Ben Simmons, Nick Claxton, and Royce O'Neal. I like these spots for him. All right, next up we have that Bucks and Bulls game that Louise was talking about. Let's start with the injury news. For the Bucks, we have Drew Holiday probable. Chris Middleton's still out. He's been out for a while. That doesn't really matter anymore. For the Bulls, Alex Caruso is questionable. He's still dealing with that concussion shoulder issue. Javonte Green is questionable. Derrick Jones is doubtful. Lonzo Ball is out. DeMar DeRozan, the matchup against the Bulls is tough. At 5% ownership, though, I like this spot for him. So definitely a potential leverage play for me right here is DeMar DeRozan. Giannis, of course, is in a fantastic spot. This is an interesting one because this game should stay close. Typically, the Bulls players haven't been hitting ceiling performances because they haven't needed to. Let me see. Ken F is saying Seth Curry is questionable. Let's see. On Underdog's website, it says he's available. So I'm just going to take that. 5 Cents said, what's good? Good to see you, man. Always good to see you. I think where I was going with that is typically the Bucks aren't seeing ceiling performances because they're not playing a ton of minutes because they haven't needed to because they've been playing well and winning games. This is one of those matchups where the game should stay close, which for me signals that this could be a potential ceiling spot for Giannis. Unfortunately, a lot of other people are thinking that same way. So, I mean, for me, I start thinking about the alternative. Like, what if this game doesn't stay close? What if this game isn't as high scoring as we foresee it being? To try to figure out if I'm more open to avoiding it. It looks like 5 Cents is saying something similar. He's like, this is about to be a defensive game. Exactly. And these are two very strong defensive teams. And so I'm not on board of like completely fading it yet. I think Jrue Holiday would be interesting, especially if Alex Caruso ends up being out. It's a little bit of a softer matchup for him. So there's definitely some potential viable plays. I just need to see what happens from an injury news standpoint, and I think that would make me more so on board. No worries, man. No worries. I know like the news can be kind of confusing sometimes with different websites, like not fully updating it. Like when it comes to DraftKings and FanDuel, I usually don't trust them for like my news information. I usually trust like uppers on DFS Army's Discord and Underdog's news website because they're just really good and official and fast. 5 Cent said, Porter's revenge narrative. That's true. That's true. If he's upset, it's plausible. I don't think I'm going to get there today, but if there's some random injuries, I don't hate it. 5 Cents is calling out Portis is in a spot for 20 and 10. All right, man. Take your shot. Luis said 9K Hero. Why? For me, Hero is viable if Jimmy Butler and if Jimmy Butler's out, I'm considering Hero more so. If Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo are out, that's a huge usage increase for Tyler Hero, and so I'll be much more interested in that spot. But it's really going to depend on the injury news. Also, a really soft matchup against the Lakers definitely helps. Even more if LBJ is out. LeBron James, for those who don't know. Next up, we have the Pelicans against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves have Kyle Anderson listed as questionable. Jordan McLaughlin is out. Cat has been out for a while. Taurean Prince is out. We talked about this last time. With Kyle Anderson out, Naz Reid plays more minutes. I didn't make Naz Reid a leverage play, but I definitely mentioned it, and he did well last time out. And he might not have been in the Nuts lineup, but he would have been in one of the best lineups possible to create, if that makes sense. Army Man's thinking about it the right way, per usual. If Bam Adebayo was out, I love Robinson. And let's see. The thing that has been really fun to see, we don't have him in yet just because Bam is in, which makes sense. Like if Bam is in, you're not playing Robinson. But Robinson has been fantastic in these spots. So I totally understand that one. With the Pelicans, Zion Williamson is probable. Trey Murphy is probable. Herb Jones is questionable. Dyson Daniels is probable. Brandon Ingram is out. CJ McCollum at 9,100 is expensive. It's very pricey. The matchup is nice. The problem is that his usage decreases with Zion Williamson returning. I think this is an interesting spot. It feels a little bit chasey for me. I do like Zion though. Interesting. Nice matchup. Solid spot. Rudy Gobert has improved defensively over the last few weeks, so they're not the same soft defense that they were at the start of this year, but still a viable play in my opinion. Anthony Edwards has been in better form as of late. He's been more consistent at least, and it doesn't feel as volatile, at least in my mind. For me, when it comes to these teams, it's mostly Anthony Edwards or Zion Williamson. Outside of that, I think these are more dart throw shots you're taking. You can definitely take a shot on Rudy Gobert or Joe Val. In theory, they would both see, or at least Joe Val should see more consistent minutes against Rudy Gobert, but that's anyone's guess at this point. I think that's viable. It's a viable play. It makes sense, but coaching and minutes have been weird this year, so I'm not going to go too heavy on a spot like that. So yeah, let's see. Kaboom said, "What's up, y'all? Took heat yesterday, but back and ready to cook today." Nice, exactly. That's the way to think about it, man. And I missed your win, Kaboom. Congrats. You had a nice win. I don't know if it was on Monday or Sunday, but I saw that in the winning lineups, and I forgot to call it out yesterday. So congrats, man. Next up, we have the Utah Jazz against the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are missing a good amount of guys. Andrew Wiggins is out. Klay Thompson is unlikely to play on a back-to-back. JaMychal Green is out. JaMychal Green is TBD. Andre Iguodala is out. Steph has been out for a while. Jordan Poole, 8,600 is expensive for him, but that's not really expensive for being the only star player on the team. And Jordan Poole is looking good. He hasn't been dominating as much as I would like for him to really break a slate. But with everyone that the Golden State Warriors have out, he has a 36.3% usage rate. We pay 9, 10, 11K for that kind of usage rate with the minutes floor that Jordan Poole has. So, I mean, I get it. You don't really love to attack the Utah Jazz with guards, and I get it. He's more expensive than he was, so we're not getting a discount. But I can almost guarantee to you guys that if he stays at 11% ownership, he's going to be a leverage play for me, and I'm going to be way over the field on Jordan Poole. And I don't really care what anyone has to say about it. That's just going to be what I do. Lauri Markkanen is always viable. He is a high upside guy. So a guy that you can definitely target for your GPPs. Jordan Clarkson, viable, streaky shooter kind of guy these days at his price tag. Not someone that I'm excited to play. Dante DiVincenzo sees a nice increase in usage with Klay Thompson out. I like this spot for him. I think he's viable. I don't hate it at all. 6,400. The price tag is a little bit of a sticker shock for me because in my mind he should be like 5,400. So I don't love him as much as I like Jordan Poole, but he's viable. Definitely if his shot is falling, big if. I know they want him to perform well in this spot. The sneaky play for me that I feel like shouldn't be that sneaky is Moses Moody. He's been performing well in these spots, and I think they want him to be a more consistent role player on this team, and time without Klay Thompson, assuming he's out, and Stephen Curry is kind of his moment to do it. Thomas Dye mentioned Ty Jerome. Yeah, I think Ty Jerome's also viable. I mean, for me, it's usually more of a choice between Moses Moody and Ty Jerome. I lean towards Moses Moody because the minutes are the minutes are more solidified for him. Whereas Ty Jerome is more of like, you need him to be extremely efficient, which he has been. If you can see, he's been a 1.35 fantasy points per minute player. So not the craziest thing to bet on him being efficient because he has been. So yeah, I like the Golden State Warriors today, guys. I think they're in a nice spot. With that being said, I mean, I think you can also take some shots on with the Utah Jazz. You can attack this Golden State Warriors team. They are better defensively at home. And so I've been trying to attack them at home, and that strategy has not been working as much lately. So I'm probably not going to keep trying to chase that train and just wait to attack them again when they're on the road. But again, I think if you're trying to take shots, Lauri Markkanen and Jordy Clarkson are probably your best ways of going about it. Mike Conley at 4,900 does seem a little bit interesting. I didn't talk about the bigs for the Golden State Warriors, mostly because they don't really see a boost with these guys out, and they keep splitting minutes. And Wiseman is slowly sneaking up there in minutes, and if this game blows out, he sees more runs. So it's really hard to predict for me which way to go, and so I usually just let the DS decide or try to find better value that I trust more. I usually prefer the latter. Kaboom said, thanks, Josiah. Still working to get myself my first swag bag. Yes, man. And for those of you that don't know, a swag bag is your first 10K win. Not really your first. Every 10K win, they give you another one. But we have some new swag too, so that'll be fun to see. I need to win one too to get some of the new swag. Outside of that, in this last game, we have the Denver Nuggets against the Sacramento Kings. For the Nuggets, Jamal Murray is TBD. Aaron Gordon is TBD. Bruce Brown is TBD. Jeff Green is out. I think I had a big rant on this show about how I wasn't going to play Nikola Jokic. But with Aaron Gordon out, I thought I was fine playing Nikola Jokic. He wasn't a core player or anything like that for me, but I was totally fine having exposure to him. And I'll have a similar approach again today. I know attacking this game did not work out yesterday, and so hopefully that keeps ownership pretty low. It looks like Jokic is still going to be pretty popular, and I think that makes a ton of sense. I'm open to playing Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. Jamal Murray. Those four, I'm okay playing them when one of them are out. If all four are healthy, I'm less interested. And so with Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray being TBD, assuming one of them will more than likely be out, I'm totally fine playing Jokic, totally fine playing MPJ. Bruce Brown not starting yesterday. I know that messed with some people too. So I trust him a little bit less than I used to in these spots. But I think that's pretty much how I'm going to treat that spot. I'm going right back to De'Aaron Fox. He sucked yesterday. It was awful. It was brutal. It was hard to watch. I was in a spot around that 10:30 game where I thought I could still have a takedown if De'Aaron Fox went off. But he didn't. But I'm gonna go right back to it. The Nuggets have not been a great defensive team against guards. De'Aaron Fox has a lot of upside. Sabonis is TBD. Alex Lynn did start yesterday, like we expected, but he did not play a lot of minutes. It was really Rashawn Holmes who saw the vast majority of those minutes. Ideally, if Sabonis is out, I mean, I don't love the spot. So I'm not even gonna pretend. I like De'Aaron Fox. He's really the main guy that I like for the Kings. I mean, we saw yesterday. You can take your shots on your guys like Hoarder, Barnes, Murray, Monk. The list goes on. I'm never going to tell you guys not to take shots on these guys because they always have a high upside. They're just streaky shooters. So it's really just picking your poison. I doubt I'll have a ton of exposure unless something really pops off for me when I dig deeper in the research. But for me, the easy answer is De'Aaron Fox. Kaboom's like, me too. Yeah, like it's weird because I know people are gonna give me a lot of crap for it, especially when I write it up on the leverage sheet, but I don't care. Like, he hurt you yesterday. Don't play him today. That's fine. Bruce Brown got injured. Oh, yeah, he is questionable. Like, but he's TBD with the ankle injury right now. I am right there with you. Appreciate it. Trey Lyles got a good usage boost too. Nice. Yeah, I do need to, like, I still need to dig into the research of exactly what happened yesterday. But yeah, Trey Lyles saw 24 minutes yesterday. So that was a pretty nice boost for him. So definitely some interesting spots that could be sneaky. I just hate that this is the last game on the slate and Sabonis is questionable. I really wish they would just give us the answer on that because that would really allow us to start thinking more creatively about this. But this is a spot I do want to dig into a little bit more to see if we can find some sneaky plays. Because if no one's going to play these guys, there's some merit to boosting some ownership a little bit. But guys, that's everything for me on this slate. This was the NBA Tournament Strategy Show. I look forward to seeing you guys on the pre-lock show. Reminder, that's at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Feel free to use the promo code BOB for a 10% discount for that. And then, yeah, on the pre-lock show, we'll talk through our leverage plays, guys we're lowering exposure to, and go from there. Have a good one, guys. Peace out. Have a good day. Bye.